The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, new outside bar now open on match days.
There's a chance here, a great save, a turner from McClare. A terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line, first of all today, we have Mr. Marriott. Jamesy, Holbein, how the devil are you?
I'm very well. I have to forewarn you, I found at the back of my fridge, I found a beer that is best before the end of September 2016, and I'm going to drink it. So, if I go a little bit quiet later on, you might just want to do the whole 3 nines thing and send them round to get me.
When you say the back of your fridge, do you mean like inside the back of your fridge, or actually round the back of your fridge on the floor?
No, it was nowhere. No, in the back of the fridge. You know when sometimes you find things in the back of the fridge and they're actually like stuck to the back of the fridge. They've like slightly frosted against it. I had to like wrench it off.
I've not been in my fridge since 1984. I have a Jeeves for that, Holbein. And also on the line, Mr. Richie, how the devil are you, Holbein?
I'm very well, my lord. How about yourself?
Absolutely fantastic.
Well, I've not got a beer yet, so if I do go quite shortly, it's because I'm buggered off to fetch one, because I forgot to get one. So
have a little look around the back of your fridge.
And I'm just feeling our equilibrium's been a bit, big words, it's been a bit pushed out with the grumpy old owls this evening.
Well, we've had equilibrium and we've had forewarned at the beginning of the show. This is getting rather intellectual already. Luckily, we've got two people with us that are going to really dumb that down for us. First of all, she's back. Victoria, my darling. How the devil are you?
Hello, my lord. I'm all right, thank you. I'm not going to ask how you are after that, so...
Bless you. And also back from his travels is Mr. Eddie. How the devil are you, Eddie Albeen?
Good evening.
Who's he?
Look, right, okay, look, I was here before the lot of you turned up, and I'll be here after you've left as well.
Like once every 2 months?
Yeah, long-time listeners may remember me. I was last heard on this podcast discussing the imminent signings of Kamil Zayate and Paul Corrie. But now I'm back, because when better time to come back than when you've just suffered a crushing, heartbreaking defeat?
Well, speaking of crushing, heartbreaking defeats, let's move on, shall we, ladies and gents? And of course, we do first of all have to speak about our defeat to Brighton. Of course, I mean, there was a bit of a meltdown about this, and I can understand the reasons why, but do you think we look terribly, terribly out of place in this game?
No. Do you want me to elaborate?
Analysis done. Yeah, please.
All right, look, my situation is that I don't remember a lot about the game itself on the night, but I've watched the highlights back, and it's triggered a few memories, and I've talked to a few people and heard a few things, and I didn't know until the day after that Sam Hutchinson got sent off, which probably sums up how that evening went in my world. Look, to me, it is as simple as this. It is a classic situation where a game of football turns on one second, one incident, and that was the penalty. I think if we score that penalty, then we're in the driving seat. You would hope that we're going to go on, we're going to take 3 points, and everyone talks about what a professional, perfect away performance it's been, because up until then, we played all right. We were playing pretty well. It wasn't the best penalty. Somehow the keeper managed to save the rebound, and it was almost a superhuman save to stop that rebound. And we get hit with the proverbial sucker punch, don't we? Where against all odds, Brighton didn't play particularly well. They were basically a one-man team that night, weren't they? They somehow managed to score with 5 minutes to go, and you just you could have written it really. The whole game changed on that penalty, and that was the moment we should have gone on and won the game. As it was, Brighton got lucky, and we just fell apart. But were we completely outplayed and outclassed? No, not at all. Not at all.
Is this the point that we sit and moan about the fact there were 5 people in the penalty box as he took it, and we should get it retaken, or are we just going to go like you did? At the end of the day, we lost to the best team in the league. We played all right, or should we sit and moan about that for a bit? Because
let's be happy clappers like we always are.
You win some, you lose some, don't you?
Lost to the best team.
But the thing about the penalty was, we have to say that it wasn't a missed penalty, it was a save penalty. Yes, I understand it wasn't the greatest taken penalty in the world, but you've got to hand it to the keeper. He made that double save very, very well, didn't he? And fair play to the chap for it. Yes, it's disappointing. Yes, if Festi had just put his laces through it and smashed it home, but we've seen him take that penalty before. He doesn't smash it. He doesn't put his laces through it. He's placed it in particular places before and done bloody well doing it as well. It was just an unfortunate turn of events, wasn't it? And yes, the game did change on that particular incident, but there was other instances in the game which were talking points as well. First of which was, of course, Mr. Sasso's picture on Sky.
He's looking well, isn't he? He's looking well,
What?
Sasso.
Still got the man crush, Eddie.
I've been away for a while, right? I didn't think he was going to change that much. He's let himself go over Christmas, hasn't he? You know, he was a beautiful, a figure of a man with wonderful hair, and all of a sudden he's obviously been away. He's got quite a suntan over the winter months, and he's had his hair cut. And you know what? I don't think it works for him. He can carry off virtually every look, but that's not a great look for Sasso. That.
He did pop a little tweet out as well, didn't he? Bless him, saying, "I guess I need to send a selfie to Sky Sports as well." Which I
love that. So like twice in one season. Not only has he been dissed and dismissed by FIFA by having the 100% blackface, but then Sky Sports give him blackface as well in a slightly different manner. But yeah. Oh, poor Vincent. It's almost as if he's too beautiful to appear on our screens.
I'm sure that's what it was.
That bit did bring out the child in me, in that how exciting is it that when we get to the Premier League, we get to do that walking on thing. That's the best bit. That's what I'm so excited for. I don't care about playing Chelsea.
We need to do a video.
I want to do the walking on thing.
We need to do one for the podcast like that.
Yes,
that's a great idea. They did it for the playoff final, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They did, yeah.
Because they
when
put
we
some of the
become a
footage
Premier
on
League podcast,
Twitter.
When we become a Premier League podcast, do we get the chance to do that? Are we going to have production values and everything?
Getting us together on Skype once a week's hard enough. I think we actually see each other in person like once every millennia.
No, it was incredibly hilarious. A couple of things that weren't quite as hilarious. First of all was the tackle on Mr. Hunt, which it's caused a little bit of a debate, this, hasn't it? And I will
it was like
get my
a
words out
Cantona kung fu kick.
It was, in my eyes, absolutely horrendous. What did you guys think of it?
In 2017, it's a red card all day long. Simple as that. Yeah. I think if you go back 20 years, you get away with stuff like that. But nowadays, it was a horrendous, a really, really, really horrendous tackle, and it is one of those that the more you watch it, it does get slightly worse every time you watch it. He's got 2 feet off the ground. He's out of control. He's not really anywhere near the ball. It ticks all the boxes for what referees look for to give someone a straight red. And I think it was very lenient of the referee to let him get away with it. Not forgetting the fact that it also hurt the guy as well. It wasn't just a bad challenge. He had to go off. It was horrendous. It really was horrendous. I
agree with what you've just said there, James, because I saw it live on telly, and we watched it, and they showed a couple of replays. He thought, oh, that's bad. But the more I see it, Jesus Christ! If I went up to someone and did that in Meadowhall, I'd get arrested. I'd get arrested tomorrow.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's borderline assault.
That's why Fudge isn't here tonight.
It's a bad tackle when even like a week later. Referees are actually having Twitter arguments about it. Was it Mark Halsey has been talking about it today, saying, that's all day long, that's a red card. That was a dangerous tackle. It was high, etc. It's clearly splitting opinion even amongst the infallible and amazing and super professional guardians of our game. So.
Yeah, there was a few, obviously, the tweets sort of got through to Alan Biggs as well, who said it wasn't a penalty, had a bit of a I am going to learn to speak tonight, ladies and gents, don't worry.
Easy for you to say.
Had a little bit of a debate with Chris Holt, Sheffield Star fame, of course, about that as well. So, yes, it did cause a few eruptions, this. We'd like to thank everybody that did sort of pass this on to the various people from our Twitter feed as well. We stuck a few little videos out there, and the general consensus was quite simply it was off the floor, both feet, wasn't really looking where it was going, and quite simply it was a dangerous tackle with no regard for anybody else on the pitch. You can't just go lunging yourself about like that, can you? And as I say, in my eyes, absolute filth. Should have been a straight red. And then, of course, the other red card incident, which Brighton have appealed for some ridiculous reason, was the penalty shout itself. Can it possibly appeal this ridiculous handball?
I don't know. It's hard to kind of... I mean, it's almost like the kind of thing... If I was a footballer, I'd do that. Because you see a ball coming towards your head, and what do? You block it. I don't think...
You block it with your head. You're a footballer. Presumably you've learned to head the ball.
It's difficult to see how they could appeal it. It wasn't... at the time, I barely caught it live at the game. I didn't really see what happened. You watch it back on TV, and at first glance, you kind of think, oh, it does look like handball. Then you see the replay, and you're like, geez, what's he doing? It's as blatant as it can be. And, that's a goalward shot. It's got to be a red card, hasn't it? They're the rules. They're not a natural position for your hands to be in, unless, like me, you're just a bit of a wuss, in which case, completely natural, and you should get away with it.
Do you know if you watch it back over and over and keep going, ah! Every time, it just gets better.
You see, at this point, I'd love to comment, but I was out on Friday night, and I did after I saw we'd lost, I was like, right, that's it. I'm not having my weekend spoilt by actually watching the game back. So as we sit here now, I still haven't seen anything from the Brighton game. So I feel like I know, but it had knackered. How often does a loss knacker your weekend? And you're in a shitty mood all week. And I thought, I'm not having Saturday and Sunday and Friday night feeling like crap. So I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, it could be worse. You could have been stuck in a camper van, actually parked at the side of the beach when it's -2 with no heating in Brighton for 3 days.
Well, I was sat in a restaurant.
Did you not just set fire to Tom? He'd warm you up.
Well, I didn't. I kind of needed him to drive me back afterwards.
True. Yeah.
And of course, we had a couple of other red card incidents as well. First of all, Fletcher. Now, I don't know if you guys again have seen the replays of this, but Fletcher was on the floor, had a little bit of push at the chap's legs, and as he was trying to get up, he got pushed back down again, which annoyed him. And then as he was getting up, he got a bit of an elbow to the face. Then the referee turned around and saw Fletcher sort of stick his head in the other chap's head. Now,
oh, my lord, come on. That's very one-sided. Fletcher did pull him down by his waist as well. Yeah. And he did headbutt him in the face. It was
So did you miss the first bit? Are you the referee?
Again, right. If I'm in Meadowhall tomorrow and I see you and I come up and just push my forehead to yours, are you going to go, oh, sorry, I'm in your way?
If I elbowed you in the face first, I'd probably expect you to.
Couldn't reach.
He might take that as a term of endearment if you get that close to him.
To be fair, Jeeves just wouldn't allow it.
Vic, I like
your security team would let her nowhere near.
Yes, they've got Vic's picture in their wallets just in case. But yeah, I'm not condoning Fletcher's behaviour. Of course, it weren't great, and he's a professional footballer and probably should know better. But he's Scottish as well.
I came away from the game and I was angry. Of course I was angry, but I was actually much more angry at Hutch initially for his sending off than I was at Fletcher. But because I've watched it now, almost weirdly in some sort of, I need to have a shower. I need to wash the stain of that defeat off. I've watched it a lot since. And actually Fletcher's one is far more unprofessional. Hutch's dismissal, and he had thrown himself around an awful lot all night, hadn't he? He was almost kind of last season's Hutch again, and there were a few times where we were watching it going, you got to watch out, Hutch. You're probably going to come a cropper if you keep on doing that. For him to do that when the game was gone was really, it made me very, very angry at the time. But actually, Fletcher's is a much worse sending off as far as I'm concerned, because it wasn't a rush of blood to the head. It was we've seen it a million times before, haven't we? I don't care if you're getting wound up. I don't care if you're getting clipped. I don't care if the guy kind of raises his hand to you or puts an elbow into you. You know that the absolute last thing you can do is put your head against his head, unless you finish it off by giving him a big sloppy kiss on the mouth with tongues. The head-to-head contact, you're going to get sent off. And Fletch is old enough and ugly enough to know that was gamesmanship from, who was it? Dale Stevens, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gamesmanship from Dale Stevens. So you can't react to it. You cannot react to it. So
the thing is, I think they did a job on us when it comes to that. Because
they did. Absolutely, they did. They
Brighton,
knew. I think they know from last season as well that we do play quite emotional. We do play heart on our sleeve, and they have players like that as well. Let's be honest, and that's what made it that kind of tinderbox of a game. But they knew what they were doing, and they evened it up. They knew a referee was going to want to even it up. They made sure that it was evened up. And
can I give a shout out though to McManaman for that situation as well? Because didn't he come across like the little skinny kid at school that sees a fight and goes, oh, come on then, come on.
I love you.
Like, appeared from like nowhere, just came in like, go on then, you're gonna hit Steve, hit me, and then ran away again.
But that's the thing, he was nowhere near the actual action. He was sort of just pushing the players on the outside of the actual action itself.
Brilliant.
Nowhere near anything, just pushing random people.
You want a piece of me?
Got pushed twice by their keeper and then walked off while their keeper got yellow card, which was odd. But yeah, fair play to him.
The next day he'll have told all his mates that he had a right fate last night. A right fate.
Tear up. We had a tear
Lex
up.
got done for it. Lex got raped done, but I got away with it.
But the thing that we were looking at there as well is Brighton were an incredibly dirty team, and I didn't realise how dirty they were, because there was that incident, obviously, with Hutch, first of all. There was the incident, I don't know if you guys again saw it, where there was a ball put through from Bannon, which Hutch was running in for. It was a wayward ball, it wasn't going anywhere, and then Dunk just came across and obstructed him, knocking him to the floor for no reason whatsoever, apart from to be an absolute tail. And then, of course, was an incident with Fessy as well, again, running through on the box, got tripped up, and as is falling down, again, Dunk again. Fessy's on the floor, Dunk slides for the ball, kicks Fessy in the head. And it's little things like that. They knew what they were doing. And to me, dirty, dirty football. And it really, really, they did the job on me, because I got wound up from it. I really, really did. It drove me absolutely potty. But all that said, it came, it went, and that was that, wasn't it? And as I say, I don't think we're embarrassed. It is incredibly disappointing that we've had this opportunity once again to sort of take those 3 points and we didn't take it. And is that becoming now an issue? Because we're not taking these chances.
And that's it, isn't it? That's what the disappointment doesn't come from the fact that we were outclassed by a better team. I take your point that Brighton are they're physical, they are professional, and you can say dirty. Look, I'll take that. We're no saints, are we? We have that in our locker as well when we need to. But
it's called Sam Hutchinson.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, no, but also, we kind of have it through the team as well. We can be quite chippy when we want to be, and that's fine. I don't mind that because it goes hand in hand with the passion, the team spirit, and all that kind of stuff. We were beaten by a better team, objectively. You can't argue with Knockout. He was unplayable, absolutely unbelievable. What is upsetting? All the upset comes from the fact that it was there in our grasp, and it took a bit of fortune. It took an own goal. And it took a penalty being given. It was a nailed-on penalty, but it's still a penalty. But it was there, wasn't it, in our hands? And the fact that we didn't then close it out is the thing that makes it very easy for us as commentators to now say, that's where Wednesday are missing it. That we are not an elite team in this division because elite teams take that opportunity, seize it with both hands, and close it out. In the final analysis, I think we've given Brighton a real good game, and it probably would have been fair for us to get a point, but we didn't. And so we go away. We've got 10 days to regroup. But what it means now is that we have to start putting a run together. If we're serious about being regarded as a top team, as opposed to, I think right now everyone accepts that we are one of the better teams, and we're probably, not a shoe-in for the playoffs, but we've probably got an inside track to the playoffs. If we're serious about taking that next step, we need to now put another run together like the one that we had before. We need to be going 8, 9, 10 games, picking up pretty much maximum points. And if we do that, we're right back in the conversation. But as it stands, it feels like a bit of a kick in the gut because we've been out professional, we've been mugged off, and we've come away with no points.
Out professionalised. It's not on. I will not be out professionalised.
I think what you said is absolutely true, because it was dead easy walking away from the game on Friday, and we said, well, that's it. Top two, forget it. We're now in a battle to stay in sixth. We're in a battle to even be in the playoffs. Now, once kind of the emotion passes and you sit down, you think about it, and you think, right, I mean, how many games this season have we come away with 3 points, and afterwards you've thought, we probably didn't quite deserve that. We didn't deserve 3 points. A draw would have been a better result. We were a bit lucky to take 3 points off Barnsley. There's tons of games in there where you would say that we were fortunate to get the win. We would have been, I think, would have probably been happy with a point from Brighton. We were unlucky to win the game. Now, what if you look at our next 6 games now, we've got Bristol City, who are 20th at the moment, Wigan, who are 21st, Birmingham, who are 12th but are in free fall, can't buy a win, Blackburn, who are 23rd, Forest, who are 19th, also in free fall, and Brentford, who are 15th. Our next 6 games are, you've got to say, they're winnable games. Now, if we get the results that we should do from those 6, it is a different picture. And I feel like we've said this a few times this season, and it's maybe not quite fallen into place. Those 6 games are the ones that will really show whether or not whether we're in it this season or whether we're making up the numbers.
Absolutely. And I think the most disappointing thing about the whole affair is losing the players for those games as well, isn't it? Because obviously Hutch and Mr. Fletch will have to serve suspensions for their red cards, which is the really disappointing and really unnecessary part about the whole thing, really, isn't it?
I think the positive from it is it's not too late. You know what I mean? We're still only in January. There's plenty of points to be played for, and it's not too late to for Brighton to have a bad spell, Newcastle, whatever. For it all to change. Who knows what's going to end up at the end of the season?
I think you've got a pop song number 1 with that. It's not too late.
They could end up losing 2-0 at home to Fleetwood Town, couldn't they? So.
What is a Fleetwood?
Here's a question. Where would you find all of the following in one place? Chairs, tables, beer, Vic, James, more beer, Dick Yow, Eddie, more beer, and the rest of the Wednesday week gang. That's right, it's the Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. All of your favourite lagers, ciders, soft drinks and hand pump ales are now available outside. Come and see the gang and give it a try. The Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. Now open on match days.
Right then, ladies and gents, let's crack on with some Wednesday news, shall we? Gentlemen and lady, shall we step into the Rumour Lounge?
The Rumour Lounge.
Rumour Lounge.
I believe
She's got a jingle now.
Victoria and Eddie, this is your first visit to the Rumour Lounge.
I tell you what, this is
exciting. But I've been
Do we have a feature?
Yeah.
After all these years.
Oh, it's good to know you've been lilistening while you've not been on, Eddie. We really appreciate your support.
Somebody even set a Twitter account up.
I've got time. I don't have time to come on. I certainly don't have time to listen. Mainly when it's not got my voice on it. I'm going to be honest with you, but
middle class problems.
Well, no, it's working. Having to work for a living for a change after 10 years on the IBM gravy train. Hi, IBM, if you're listening.
Right, so this week's rumours in the Rumour Lounge. Let's start off with outgoings. That's really scary and weird. I don't like
the Rumour Lounge.
It's quite sensual. Then James just types it.
Pipes up. It's a voice. Aren't you going to compare it to something going on in Meadowhall? Because that seems to be your thing tonight, is comparing stuff to what happens in Meadowhall. You can see the North Stand from my attic window. Oh, right.
Oh, dear. So, outgoings, rumoured outgoings from the Rumour Lounge. Apparently, Mr. Zhao has had some interest courted by Wigan as well, hasn't he? And apparently the interest is a permanent move rather than a loan move, which is what I would be expecting from Mr. Zhao.
Okay. Bye. See ya.
Right, there'd be a bit of me that would be a little bit disappointed about him going on
if we lost
on
money,
a permanent.
He looked so good last year, didn't he? And this year he's just not done it, has he?
Do you wonder whether or not there are some question marks about his approach to the game, maybe his attitude, whether that comes into it a little bit?
Well, Carlos has said it was attitude, hasn't he? And
yeah, whether or not
if that's
Carlos
the case, then
just isn't seeing enough from him to want to kind of persevere, and reckons maybe he needs someone else to have a go with him to try and kind of whip him into shape.
Like who, James? Who else would you bring in apart from Lucas Shaw?
No, I mean,
who would you bring in, James?
I was talking about another manager maybe having a go with Shaw.
Okay. All right.
But actually, seeing as you're asking me, Danny Ward from Rotherham, without a doubt.
No.
What about Bristol City's top scorer?
No.
Is he got a chance?
Yeah, it'd be good as well, yeah.
No.
What about Ryan Lowe? I think he could still do a job for us. Actually, someone did tweet that earlier, saying Ryan Lowe could still do a job for us.
I think he's just got himself a new job as player manager. We had a tweet earlier on, didn't we? Saying, because of course, the old...
Where is he now, Dickie? Where is he now? Is he a player manager?
Bury. Player coach at Bury. There we go, you see.
Is that close to Bury?
Bury, whatever.
Well stopped, Pretty. The Rumour Lounge has got rather raucous this week, hasn't it? I think we've got some unwelcome guests into the Rumour Lounge.
The Rumour Lounge.
You sound like the late night version.
I love both the jingles. Yeah, no, it is. It's like James is like the
Hollyoaks
version.
and Hollyoaks After Dark.
I'm like the CITV version, aren't I? The Rumour Lounge with Andy Peters.
They're like the Call Scotty McClue late night version.
The Rumour Lounge. Welcome to the Rumour Lounge.
Do you know, this is a true story. Me and Scotty McClue are friends on LinkedIn, and he sends me a message every so often saying hello, and he puts a capital letter at the beginning of every single word in his messages. Every one.
Oh, I used to love him.
Yeah, definitely on the spectrum. Hi, Scotty, if you're listening.
Well, if you'd ever like to invite him to the Rumour Lounge, James, please do feel free. Of course, there was some little rumours popping about at the beginning of the week because Big Dave was seen sort of tramming around Germany, visiting various different clubs. Oh, you're not allowed to do that in the Rumour Lounge.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, you have
doesn't
to
mean
treat
it's
the
true.
Rumour
It's
Lounge
just
with
a rumour.
respect.
Actually, you can't use that in the Rumour Lounge, my lord, because that happened. There was photographic evidence of it. That's not a rumour.
True, it's not a rumour.
Whatever.
It could have been photoshopped because he is now back in South Yorkshire. So we know
I'm playing really well. That's just a rumour.
It's just having a bath, and he'll be back shortly.
Now, I assume last week, obviously, I did listen very, very carefully to the show last week to make sure that I was absolutely on point. But did you mention Mello chucking off on loan last week as well, chaps?
Were you not on last week?
I wasn't, no. Did you mention that Mello was seeing great big beavers whilst he was travelling around?
We had a few beaver jokes, yeah. There's room for more. Did
anybody happen to mention that the drugs that they've got Mello on for his clearly rather painful legs might be just a little bit strong if he's seen beavers, even in his photographs on there?
How impressed did he look in that picture? He looked like, what the fuck am I doing?
To be fair, if a 6-foot beaver came and stood next to you, Dickie Orbin, what would your face look like? Because I know what my face
was Christmas morning.
Exactly.
It looked like it was photoshopped though, didn't it?
Beaver.
So you imagine they've stood him.
You suggest?
They've stood him next to a green screen or a blue screen or whatever colour the screen is that they use, and they just said, "Can you just pretend that you stood next to a 7-foot beaver, please?" And that's the expression that you get.
Maybe he thought he was doing the Sky Walk on, so like they put him in front of a green screen and then just like put some beaver in the background.
To be fair, it looks more like they'd actually put the beaver in front of the green screen and put behind him as well.
It's CGI Mello. The beaver's real. Mello's actually CGI. No one's ever seen him.
See, you wonder where Eddie had been for the last 2 weeks. He's been CGI Mello for various different clubs around Europe.
You know what, though? So far behind the times. I was on Time Hop the other day, and it popped up from kind of 6 years ago, and my Facebook status was, I just love looking at beavers. But I was talking about Mark Beavers in an hilarious
word,
like bit of word.
Oh, lol.
Hilarious pun. So there you go. Maybe that's what Mello's doing. He's hooking up with Mark Beavers. On loan to Millwall.
Oh my God! If Luke Bowden turns up, Eddie.
If Bodsy's there, you know what? But I've heard that Bodsy's now retiring at the age of 76.
He's left Orlando. He's moved to another American team. I don't know which. I can't remember who it was now, but he has moved on from Orlando.
Well, in American Rumour Lounge news, Mr. Hark's young son has also got his first professional contract over there in the US as well. I saw a little tweet about that just the other day as well. So hopefully keep an eye on him, get him over with young Mr. Hurst and Harks even. That's how excited I get about it. Can you imagine seeing both a Hurst and a Harks on the pitch again for Wednesday? That'd just be
You've got 40 minutes without mentioning George Hurst then.
You would explode, Lord H.
Quite
literally explode.
We're now in the Hurst Lounge.
No, you guys.
The Hurst Lounge.
You guys aren't allowed in the. You guys aren't allowed in the. It's not called the Hurst Lounge. It's called the Hurst Shrine. So
yeah, your bathroom's called the Hurst Room, isn't it? That's where you go and pay homage.
That's what we call it, homage. Now, of course, the biggest rumour, which we have to speak about because it has been the greatest buzzing rumour on the social medias and around the thing as well, is Mr. Rhodes. It's there. It's back on. Apparently, there's been a bid of £1 million plus add-ons for the player. It seems that if all this is true, Mr. Chansiri is happy to do battle for the signature with some pretty tasty, rich clubs as well, isn't he? Do we think? Dare we think? Can we suggest that this is true if it is a strong rumour in the Rumour Lounge?
Can he be our best man, James? Can Mr. Chansiri be our best man?
Oh, I am so sick of hearing about your chuffing wedding.
Shut up.
You are? Gosh.
You know my thoughts.
But if you are confused, listeners, there was something that went off the first 15,000 times that we had rumours about Jordan Rhodes coming. That if it happened, James would marry Victoria. Now, this is worse than the actual chuffing rumour itself, that this nonsense has been going on for such a long time. Our chat
you missed out the words for tax purposes that you have to use at the end of that sentence.
Yeah, there is that, yeah.
James said that he would marry Victoria for tax purposes.
But James, if customs are listening.
I'm not sure the Wednesday Week podcast is on their normal, weekly checks that they tend to do while trying to burst, terrorism and smuggling and all that kind of stuff.
It is now. But yes, do we think there's any substance to this? There must be, mustn't there? Yes. Surely.
I suppose there is, yeah, because it's it was in the sun, therefore it must be true. That's how these things work, isn't it? I'll be honest here, I don't like it. If we sign Jordan Rhodes, yeah, I will be happy. Obviously, it's bittersweet because it means that I've got to become Mr. James Wood. But what makes me nervous about it is if you think about some of the clubs knocking around the Championship now who are in trouble, clubs like Forest and Blackburn, clubs that have had transfer embargoes because they take that gamble and it doesn't happen for them, it doesn't pay off. It just worries me that everything that we've done so far has been sensible. We've spent money on players, absolutely we have. And, we've spent quite a lot of money on some players. But it all seems to have been part of a plan. This, for me, if we sign Rhodes for whatever, £8-9 million, feels a bit desperate, if I'm honest. It's a bit like, right, we're not scoring enough goals, let's just do it, let's just sign him. And I have complete faith, I really do believe that Mr. Chansiri knows what he's doing in terms of financial fair play. That if he takes a gamble, he knows it's a measured gamble. Maybe he feels that we can, maybe he feels that we can do it and still stay within financial fair play. I just have this awful thing in my head about in 2 years' time, if we sat down to do this podcast and we're at the bottom end of the Championship, we're in a transfer embargo and we're staring relegation to League One in the face. And I know that sounds super pessimistic. I just don't want us to look back at this moment and just think, do you know what? Why did we sign Jordan Rhodes for £9 million then? That's where it all went wrong. And maybe, and this is not really me, I am a bit of a happy clapper. I don't normally think like this. It's been niggling away at the back of my mind for the last week or so, and it's kind of getting stronger and stronger. The stronger that rumour gets, really. That I just don't know if I think it's the right thing for us to do.
Another way of looking at it is that for every 3 clubs, 4 clubs who make that move and it's the wrong move and they end up in administration, transfer, embargo, struggling at the wrong end, there are 12 or 13 or 15 clubs who never make that move, and therefore never put themselves in the position to take that step. And let's be honest here, if we look at our team, there are two main worries. Number one is that if we get an injury in central defence, that we don't really have the quality. I'm sorry, Vincent, you have quality in every other respect, but we don't really have the quality to replace that Lees-Louvens axis, at least not without moving Hutch back, which is going to make our midfield weaker. And, like it or not, we haven't got the goal scorer that we need. We don't have a Glenn Murray to get sent off for doing a handball in his own box. We need someone to put us over the top. And unfortunately, we have spent sensible money on players who are meant to be doing that. Fletcher was meant to do that. And it hasn't happened. Zhao was a bit of a punt, but the intention was he was going to bring that quality. Hooper was meant to bring that experience and do it. And, he's been injured. I actually think that Gary Hooper could be the guy who does score the goals that take us where we need to go. But we need to do something. And I trust Carlos, but more than that, I trust Defon Chansiri to make decisions that safeguard the future of the club, i.e. he's not spending money that we can't handle. Yeah. But I also believe that he will make the right decisions strategically to bring in the players who are going to do it. And his passion and his will to succeed probably outstrips everything else. And that through sheer force of will, he will make this happen. If he believes that Jordan Rhodes is the answer, he'll make that happen. And you know what? If it turns out that Jordan Rhodes isn't the answer, he will find a way to make the pain of that wasted money go away. And he'll probably find the next striker that is going to be the answer. So I feel I'm not a huge happy clapper for Jordan Rhodes. I don't know whether Jordan Rhodes is the answer, but I absolutely respect the strategy of going and getting him, because he pretty much is the only proven free agent out there that that we can give it a go with.
I've been banging about this on the podcast for the last few weeks, and I'm convinced Jordan Rhodes will come. If he does come, I'm convinced that he'll be the man that'll score the goals. I think he's the kind of guy that'll come and in the next few games between now and the end of the season would score 15 goals. And that in our team, I think, would make a huge difference. And I really do believe it'll propel us on to, not necessarily automatic, but getting into the Premier League. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm sure Mr. Chansiri will have a plan. He will have some kind of. He's a businessman, so he's not just going to do this on a whim. He's going to have thought about it, made some really put some real thought into it, and come up with a plan that if it doesn't work out, how are we going to get around this financial fair play?
Yeah, and to put that into sort of substance, he's no mug, is he, Mr. Chansiri? He's proven that. He's an absolute diamond when it comes to this kind of thing.
If anyone kicks off, we'll send McManaman in at the last minute, and he can just go and just wave his arms around, be like, "Come then, you want a bit?"
Fair enough. The other bit of sort of rumour news as well is that apparently Forest have been knocking on the door for Carlos as well.
Honestly, no.
That's a proper rumour, that one, isn't it? That's
probably we've been knocking on the door for Messi as well.
Well, we can hear him knocking, but you ain't coming in for it. I'm not being funny, but that's just chuffing ridiculous. But fair play for them for trying. And luckily they've gone to...
Can you imagine Mr. Chansiri's reaction when he got that message saying they want to talk to Carlos? Is that okay? Lol. No.
Do you think he sent an emoji
back? Nottingham Forest and
just
shut them down.
Face emoji.
I feel there's a tuna books video coming out of this one.
Yeah, totally.
But no, brilliant, absolutely hilarious, absolutely fantastic. It made me chuckle that. Forrest, thank you for that. I needed that after the Brighton match. I really did. Now, any other sort of first team ins and outs that you guys have heard of that we've not mentioned so far? Obviously, we've had the Hourahan, and that now looks like he's off elsewhere, doesn't it?
Yes, it looks like he's going to Villa, doesn't it? From what we've seen tonight, for £2 million.
Did we all see the picture of Toby Tyke though, their mascot, holding up a sign saying "I'm not for sale"?
You know what? You know what I really love?
Sign
Well, what's really love is for Mr. Chancellor to turn around and two bands and say, look, he's £1 million for that mascot.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Offer him 10 grand a week.
That's not going to happen. But apparently, Toby Tyke is now favourite for the Nottingham Forest job.
He turns up with a little Robin Hood hat on and a tiny little bow and arrow. Oh, I love it.
There is another room I've just come across on the Tinterweb. Bristol Rovers striker Matty Taylor, who scored 19 goals this season, 26.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Sounds,
what is it? The reckon it's something like 300 grand or something that is available for transfer.
Yeah.
That sounds like depth to me. You know what? We sign someone like him, 300 grand, probably 15 grand a week, something like that. It's depth. Is that going to put us over the top? Well, I don't know. Probably not. It gets to a point where you can't play enough strikers at any one time to give anyone a real chance. You've got to go for quality rather than quantity, surely.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. And we do need to sort of build for the future and keep an eye on these sort of players as well, because we can't be sort of shelling out silly amounts while we're still in this particular situation, can we? So it is a good idea to sort of keep his eye on. And we have got a relatively strong sort of youth setup at Wednesday. So we've got the players there, obviously, Hurst, Penny, etc., etc., etc. So we are doing well on that front as well. And that is the other sort of side of Sheffield Wednesday that has been strengthening this week as well. The youths have signed a young chap from Cardiff as well, Ashley Baker, who's come over from Cardiff to the youth team this week as well. He popped a little tweet out, and this is how down with the kids I am, ladies and gents, that he is buzzing to have signed for Sheffield.
Respect.
Absolutely, and ting in it, fam. So that's good news. And one of our youngsters has actually popped off on loan to Accrington Stanley.
Who are they?
Thank you, Rich. Exactly. Yeah, a young chap called Sean Clare has popped off to Accrington Stanley on loan until the end of the season. And he did actually go off on loan to Bury last season as well. So hopefully this is a...
Is it close to Bury? I don't know.
Similar sort of area. But still, I mean, it's good that these, when we spoke about in the pod before about these young ones getting sort of blooded, if you like, and getting, and it does seem that we're sending this chap out. So hopefully that means he's going to be ready to start knocking on the door in a couple of years' time as well, which is fantastic news there. Right, then, other Wednesday news for this week. Of course, Mr. Hutchinson, I'm sure you guys have seen, was in The Guardian giving the interview about, obviously, his troubles with his injuries and with both sort of physical and mental injuries as well. We have seen a similar sort of interview before, but it's brilliant, these interviews. And it started off beautifully, didn't it?
What a guy. I mean, he is classed as like Mr. Brave and Mr. whatever at Sheffield Wednesday, and I think if he makes one difference to one young lad or one older guy in that crowd that can stand up and say, I need help too, then brilliant. Like, fair play to him. Bring him on as much as you can. Let's regurgitate that article every year.
And after all that, in this particular article, it just said how he likes to get stuck in as well, didn't he? And prove that obviously this injury. And basically
Calm
just said,
down,
like,
James. Calm down.
Yeah, that went down well with the Brighton fans, I must admit. Their comments on that article were fantastic. But yeah, he's done well, and he's come back from a lot of stuff. I'd love to know the ins and outs of like the insurance and whatever else, and how you retire and then come back. I just think that's interesting.
That's boring. That's boring as sin.
I think that's quite interesting.
Chuffing hell is wrong with you, woman.
No.
Apparently, you have to pay the insurance money back once you, if you do that. Yeah, but
that's the thing. It's a certain amount of years and whatever else, and that's why I'm interested. But Lord H says I'm not allowed to be so.
You can be interested as you like, but just, is anybody else enjoying the insurance part of this debate?
Let's be quiet, woman, is what he's saying, I think.
That's not what
I'm just going to go and do some ironing.
I think
what's he on?
The best thing about the article was how it started with the story, as if this was quite a normal thing, that he had to break off from the interview to go and, what was it, officiate a wrestling match between the masseuse and the physio. And everyone gathered around to watch
Paul Smith, wasn't it? It was Paul Smith, who's a big bear of a man, And who is our masseuse?
I haven't got a clue.
Is it still Derry Suter? I'm not sure. It used to be. It could still be him. That's like 10 years ago, and I was like, it could be anyone now. It could be you. I wouldn't know. Oh God!
What was his name? Derry.
Derry Suter.
Is that near Bury?
Oh, Derry's in Northern Ireland. Come on, where's your game?
So that's not near
Derry Suter. Yeah.
Bury.
Nowhere near Bury now. Or Bury.
It's a different rock, isn't it? That one, yeah, that's the one across the water. Got it.
France.
But either way, wrestling match, brilliant.
Well, why is Hutch the referee? It asks more questions than it answers. That
Eddie,
just
if you read
they're
the
all
article,
scared of him.
It says that he's getting back into team spirit by doing things like that.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 0114 232 6121.
Right then, ladies and gents. So a little bit of other Wednesday news. There was a closed door game. Well, say closed doors. It was on Countley Park in Doncaster. Apparently, Carlos had some chaps out to.
Sorry. That's funny.
Okay.
You ever been to Countley Park? It's definitely not behind closed doors.
Carlos had some of the chaps out to I assume get some match fitness in there. We saw the likes of Abdi, we saw Dave, we saw Samido, we saw Eddie favourite Sasso on the pitch, and Mr. Irby Emanuelson apparently was having a little run around as well. He does exist, ladies and gents.
Sasso.
He's not a fictional character, and apparently we won that game 1-0 as well, which is fantastic. But I think the main thing here was fitness, because we are missing Hutch, we are missing Fletcher, and we do need to replace these because Mr. Lee is out as well, of course, as we know. So who do you guys think that Carlos has got sort of eyes on to slot in there? Are we thinking Abdi? Are we thinking Mr. Jones? Or what do you guys think?
I'd say Jones. I think that he's the one that's most suited to that position. By the way, I thought this is going slightly off topic, but I do think Bannon had a really good game against Brighton. I think that he answered a lot of his critics.
He did, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
We stuck a few videos out of some of the passes he was pinging about as well, and the another fantastic defensive tackle by Bannon. Is this?
Oh, that tackle! Oh,
is this a part of the game I've been missing from Bannon? Because that's two incredible tackles whilst we've been sort of digging these videos out. He's done in the last 2 weeks, but he times them so beautifully well, doesn't he? It's brilliant. You can see him sort of watching and lurking, and then he just pounces, and it's brilliant. Love it. Absolutely fantastic. So yes, sorry, Mr. Bannon, we did forget to mention you, but we did tweet out lots of your videos as well. But yes, so we think obviously Mr. Jones is going to sort of fill into that I'm going to not let you pass and possibly break your legs situation that Mr. Hutch usually fills in for us.
Well, it won't be the same because he's not as good a player in that role. I don't think he's particularly natural in that role, to be honest. But yeah, we need to play someone that is a bit of an enforcer, and I just don't think that Abdi suits that. The other option is whether or not you do bring in someone like Samido, but I think we would all probably conclude that this is not Samido's league anymore, and this is not his standard anymore. So for me, it's got to be Jones. I think he's the only one that can come in and do it.
Absolutely. But a massive congratulations to the chaps for triumphing over the might of Doncaster Rovers on Cantley Park. Brilliant. Love it. Right. Sorry, it just makes me juggle. Right, then, ladies and gentlemen, so on to the Bristol game. Now, it has to be said, Bristol aren't going great guns at the moment, are they? They are sort of hovering above the drop zone on 27 points and are not having a wonderful time of it right now, are they?
I'm sorry, who are you talking about here? Is this Bristol City or Bristol Rovers?
I apologise.
I'm not sure which one you mean.
It did say Bristol. It did. I apologise, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologise to the people of Bristol who are clearly.
You sounded like old Steptoe then.
Bristol City, ladies and gents. I apologise, and please do put my teeth back in, shall I? But see, you've got me all flustered now. But either way,
you are turning into Steptoe, aren't you? You really are. What's happening?
Whoever the chuff we're playing, they're not very good, are they? So are we going to chuff this up, or are we going to give somebody a spanking? Because last time Eddie was here, you did mention, Eddie, that you did want to spank somebody, and we're still waiting for that spanking to come about, aren't we, Bobby?
No, absolutely. And if they didn't keep swapping Vincent Sasso's face, then maybe a spanking would have occurred by now. But no, you know what? We owe Bristol City a spanking because we took a spanking from them at their ground, didn't we, last time?
We really did.
One hell of a good
so
spanking.
much spanking going on now.
That was actually a really fun away trip right up until the game started, to be honest. So I'd love us to go back down there and administer the spanking in return.
If there was ever a time we were going to do it, because they've lost 8 consecutive games now, haven't they? Which is a new club record. They just cannot. Even Forest beat them on Saturday, who've been awful in the last few weeks. So yeah, they really, really are. They're as low as a team can be really at the moment. They have got a game as well on Saturday. I think they play Burnley in the FA Cup on Saturday. So whether or not that means that we'll be that little bit fresher, that's got to give us a bit of an advantage. You might think they'll make a few changes, but there's going to be some players that have got to play in both games for them. So if there was ever a point we were going to do it, it was going to be it's going to be this time, which means we'll lose about 5-0.
And did you guys happen to see the goal that they lost to Forest with? Can you remember the wonderful John Sheridan versus Luton free kick?
The free kick.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
Oh, the chip up and hit, yeah.
He did that against Bristol, and that's what did them, basically, in that game. But it just flooded me back to the 90s, watching Sheridan do it against. Was it Luton that Sheridan did against all those years ago?
I think it was Luton, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
Is that the reason that Shez got sacked from Notts County? Because someone else repeated his free kick, and Notts County were like, well, we thought you were special, but now you're not.
Well, there was a little thing in the Star, I don't know if you saw it, that apparently he lost his position at Notts County because he went on a foul-mouthed tirade.
Have you seen the transcripts of what he said there?
That's not like John Sheridan. Going on a foul-mouthed tirade after drinking.
Who's that?
It was honestly, it was like reading. If someone did a script of our the bits of the podcast that we're not allowed to record, it was like that. I've never heard language like it. It's worth. I'm obviously not going to say any of these things. It is worth you googling and having a look at.
So yes, I think we're on agreement that this should be. Oh, fingers crossed, for Christ's sake, fingers crossed. Just a nice, relaxing game for this season. I know it's not going to happen now we've said it, and I know we're probably going to get tonked, like James said, but it just shouldn't happen. Right, then, ladies and gentlemen, do any of you guys have any little bits for this evening?
I certainly do this evening, yes. I was pointed out earlier, following my successful Where Are They Now? Excuse me. Come on,
and that's
boys.
all we've got time for today.
No.
Where are they now? Do you remember that Dickie Owl that used to be on that podcast before they fired him?
Yeah, thanks for that, yeah. Well, the Yorkshire Post have also done a Where Are They Now? And it's based on the team from the League Cup semi-final from Blackburn from, I don't know what bloody year it was, 2002 or something like that, wasn't it? I think it was like that. But theirs is nowhere near as good as mine. So, for example, we've got into the team. So the team's Paul Heald was in goal. There was Lee Bromby, Derek Geary, Ashley Westwood. Who else? We got Steve Haslam, Matt Hamshaw.
The most disappointing thing about this for me is I don't remember Paul Heald at all. I have no recollection of this guy. Who was he? Where is he now, Rich? Where is he now?
I don't know.
You'd noticed him more, but every game that he played, Derek Geary got sent off and therefore took all of the headlines.
Oh.
He's currently the goalkeeping coach at MK Dons. But when you come down to other players down the list, so we've got Paul McLaren here, and it says, and has not been in the game since. And then Alan Quinn has not been in the game since.
Oh, what they need, Rich, is a professional. Where are they now?
Somebody who actually knows where the hell they are. Instead of putting, I could have said, I don't know whether they've not been in the game since they retired. God's sake, what a shit article.
I think you should.
Get a pro in.
I think you should offer your services, Richie Albeen, as official. Where are they now?
They're in Leeds. I don't give a shit.
It's all right. I know the editor. I've tweeted him for you.
Yeah. So,
You might be in with the job.
He ignored you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Victoria, I believe you have a rather special little bit for us this evening, my darling.
Ooh. I hope it's what I mentioned earlier. So yes, I just want to shout out that our website is now live. So, oh, that was adorable. I want that when I get a text message. Can we re-record that afterwards, just so I can have it as my phone thingy? But anyway, the WednesdayWeek.co.uk is now live, and we have been sponsored for our website, if that makes sense, by podcastwebsites.com. They have given us a website and it's awesome, so go and check it out. If you run a podcast, speak to them about getting your own website. They've been amazing. Thank you to Kieran/Fernando, who runs the biz, sorting us out. It looks awesome. I can't take full credit. I can take like 80% because I put everything on there, but Kieran made it work. So brilliant. Have a look at our website. You can buy our clothes from there. Well, not our clothes, like clothes with stuff.
Big Snickers.
By Victoria.
Yeah, I don't know. Make us an offer. We'll consider anything.
To be fair. But yeah, you can buy all of our stuff. You can listen to all of the old podcasts. You can read the reviews, which are amazing as well, because I'd never read them properly because they're just kind of hidden on iTunes. And they're brilliant. There's so many nice reviews. They're all like 5-star, like, oh, guys, I'm going through a divorce and you're amazing. All this stuff. It's really nice. But yeah, have a look at the website, give it a click. I haven't got analytics set up on it because I don't know how to do that. So I can't tell if you have or not. So you can just lie. But yeah, it's there. It's live. Woo!
Absolutely, pop over. And I believe are we looking for some writings for the website as well?
Yeah, this is more my thing. Yeah, so the idea will be ultimately that there'll be a blog section on the website. There will be some blogs. In fact, there is a blog section on the website. There's just not a lot on it at the moment. So yes, unfortunately, as the person that did start out working at a newspaper doing writings for a living, it falls to me to kind of take charge of that section. But I obviously couldn't really write anything about the Brighton game because I can't remember being there, to be honest. So I'm after ideas. Give me ideas about things that you'd like to read a blog about, things that you'd like me to write about. Basically, send me a tweet at James Marriott or to the podcast at TWWcast. And give me some inspiration. Think, whether it's something along the Grumpy Old Owls route, something about, memories in the 90s or whatever. Just give me ideas.
Can you do one about where people are now?
There's an idea. I like that.
For God's sake. Grow up.
But in all seriousness as well, if people are doing like journalism or whatever at uni and want to write for us, then James will just get his red pen out and cross the shit out of it and then put it online. So
yeah, exactly the same thing. Yeah, if you're interested in doing some writing for us, drop me a line and we will make that happen.
At James Marriott, Vincent Sasso sex stories.
Yes, I want to have an erotica section, but apparently it's
Can we have an X-rated section?
I do want one.
I've got a story idea about Cindy Harks.
No.
We all had a story about
your
it.
A little bit that I've got this week is I would like to say a massive thank you to Mr. Richard Murphy, who I know is listening to the show, who brought great hilarity to the Wednesday week chat because Richard had a photograph with James at the Brighton game. And he's put up his profile picture, which is really, really nice. And I thought that was lovely. And when we pointed this out to James that he's now somebody's profile picture, what did you say, James?
Well, I don't think I can repeat it because it involved a lot of swearing. But it was it was along the lines of chuff me. I don't even remember that being taken. And I genuinely cannot. I've looked at the photo and I'm like, is that in Brighton? And there's a video there as well, which is me having a beer at half time. I'm like, what? I don't remember this at all. And I genuinely don't. I don't remember any of it. But
How the hell do you remember
thank you,
the
Richard.
game,
It was lovely to see you.
I must admit, Richard is an avid listener to the show, so I would like to thank Richard. And it was a pleasure for James to meet you there as well. Which is
James really enjoyed it.
This is turning into a spot
So
James
sorry.
competition, isn't it? Like, even like at Hallam the
Where's
week you got
Jamesy?
spotted and photographed.
Right. Does anybody else have any little bits for this evening, ladies and gentlemen?
Can I resurrect tweet of the week? And I saw this earlier on, and actually I think Vic's posted this subsequently as well onto our little group conversation, which is I forgot what the Twitter handle is. Viva la Hutch, who has, so if you got an iPhone, it's got Siri, and you say stuff to it, and every so often it doesn't get what you're talking about. So this person's just said to Siri, "We've got banan." And the reply is, "I'm not sure I understand." It's almost like the song. And that really made me chuckle. That's the favourite tweet that I've seen all week.
Can I also remind
done,
you all that we are on the Instagrams, so you can find us at TWWcast on Instagram, and sometimes James posts naked selfies.
Was that in Brighton as well? Because honestly, that could have happened in Brighton, and I wouldn't know anything about it.
It was in a camper van, I think, on the beach.
Yeah,
but it was really cold.
Was there a really massive dog next to me?
What was her name? Yeah.
Oh dear. Now, of course, ladies and gents, not only can you get us on Instagram, you can get us on the Facebooks, you can get us on Twitters, and we have been, again, popping out these videos of bits and bobs to remember from when we played previous games. Of course, I'm sure you guys will remember that Bristol City was the game that we had to win to get promoted back to the Premiership. Or sort of Division 1 as it was back then, way back when. So we'll be popping videos out of those wonderful memories as well. And, of course, other bits and bobs where we've played at Bristol City as well. So keep a little eye out for those. And, of course, our videos after the games with all the little niggly bits that people don't tend to notice as well. So, yes, and please do get involved. If you see anything, if you've got any memories of playing at Bristol City, then please do tweet us those as well.
Or blogs.
I like that you're doing that every time now.
I have to do it because otherwise I literally will forget to do it.
I wish you were the guy that was reading the scores out on 5 Live or something that evening, where you're like, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Bristol City 0.
I've just edited that in after the podcast, after the fact. Of course, you can get us over there on the YouTubes, etc., as well. And our YouTube videos have been taking a bit of a jump as well. So please do have a little nosy over there and subscribe to all these various places. We don't really plug this very often, but please do subscribe to our various places as well. Help us grow the podcast. Help us pass it around, because we keep getting all these little sort of podcast wannabes trying to pinch our number one podcasting spot, and it's just not happening, ladies and gents. You know you are. It's been a pleasure. Sorry, I forgot to ask you, James or B, if people want to see more.
He's just stopping.
Get away with it.
Bloody hell! Bloody rubbish.
Sorry for that minor interlude into the Lord Hillsborough podcast, but if I could just mention, at James Marriott, so I'm after ideas for blogs to write, or anyone that's interested in doing some blogging for us. Oh, and no game this weekend, so I'll actually be at the cinema on Saturday. So if anyone wants to play the Where's Jamesy game and take a photo of it, no, I'm off to see Train Spotting T2. Which will be much better than seeing some crappy musical.
It's really good.
It's not though, is it? It's rubbish.
3 times in 2 weeks.
No, I'm not, but I want to see people shooting up heroin.
Fair enough. Go around to Eddie's.
Okay. Well, hang on. It's only crack around the house.
Victoria, my darling, if people want to find more ways to purchase your pants, where can we do that, my dear?
eBay, or you can find me on Twitter at Victoria1867.
Fantastic. Richie, old boy, if people want to find you over there on the Twitteridge, where can we do that?
Yes, you can find me on Eddie. No richiespants.com or anything like that going off. Richie's Worn Pants.com. He's a different kettle of fish.
That website again.
Richie's Warm Wangers.
Oh, no. You can find me at Dickie Owl, just shaking my head.
And Eddie O'Bean, if people want to find
Really wondered where you were going just for a second. Then I really wondered where you were going.
Going there at all.
Eddie O'Bean, if people want to see you over there on the Twitch page, where can we do that?
As always, you can find me at Sausage Arms or at my new website venture, GrahamHydeSexStories.com.
Of course, if you'd like to find me over there on the Twitter, you can do that at LordHSL0RD_H. You can follow the podcast as well at TWWcast, and of course, find us in all the usual places as well. It's been a pleasure, as always, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for joining us. Be good, be safe.
And we'll see you real soon.